Hi, so this chapter we're going to cover Chapter 15, Microbial Mechanisms of Pathogenicity. These are the learning objectives that we're going to cover for this chapter. In our outline for today, we're going to talk through what are pathogens. We're going to work through an infectious disease chart, learn about Koch's postulates, and then we are going to apply Koch's postulates to a feline chin acne case. So before we get to get our discussion started today, I wanted to start off by asking, why should a cell biologist study microbial pathogens? So why should a cell biologist study microbial pathogens? And for background, cell biology is the study of cell structure and function. So someone who studies cell structure and function, now why would it be a good idea for them to study microbial pathogens? Well, if we're thinking about the perspective of a microbial pathogen, they are trying to infect or target a host cell or molecule. And by knowing and learning about those factors, which are these virulence factors, cell biologists may be able to design an antimicrobial or antibiotic that would target those parts that would stop that pathogen. Very similar to what you guys had did in the last chapter, where you had designed your antimicrobial against DNA replication. So by understanding microbial pathogens, those that are trying to infect or target host cells, they can use that information to reveal targets for design of antibiotics. So when we're talking about pathogens, we first want to define them. So pathogens are microorganisms that cause disease. And pathogens can fall into two categories. They can be the cellular living category in the blue, or this acellular non-living category on the right, or in the red. So on the blue side, this would be our cellular living category, or what is considered living. And on the right here would be acellular, and this is non-living microbes that are considered non-living. So the types of microbes that are going to be considered living are those are like parasites. So parasites, for example, helminths. Helminths have tapeworms. So an example of a parasite would be tapeworms. Protozoa is another example of a living organism that can cause disease. One could be the Plasmodia organism that causes malaria. Then there's fungi. Fungi could cause disease. For example, tinea, which is athlete's foot. And then one that we have covered all semester and learned about most in this class is going to be prokaryotes. An example for prokaryotes could be a bacteria, and one example here could be the one that causes a leprosy. So these are the different types of cellular organisms that are considered living that are pathogens that can cause disease. So those that are acellular or non-living, an example would be viruses. So virus is one example, the HIV virus that can lead to AIDS. And then another non-living organism, not really an organism, but non-living molecule is going to be a prion. So a prion's pretty interesting because it is a protein. It's a protein that happens to cause a disease. An example of one that causes Creutzfeldt-Jacobs disease, which is a fatal neurodegenerative disorder, is going to be is going to be this one, the CJD. So with that all in mind, all of these organisms that can cause diseases can all cause infectious disease.